You play by the rules. You keep your head down. You try to be good, honest, reasonable, and yet you feel powerless. People walk over your silence. They twist your kindness into weakness. You stay loyal. They stay calculating. You show your heart. They sharpen their knives. They don't care how good you are. They care how much control you have. You've lived like a man, but men are broken every day. What survives is something else, something colder, something untouchable. There is a moment when a man stops asking questions and starts making decisions, when he stops chasing approval and starts becoming the storm others must endure. That moment is your rebirth. And Machiavelli would call it one thing: God mode. No emotion, no guilt, no second guessing, just pure strategy, cloaked in silence and delivered without mercy. You become the one they cannot read, cannot predict, cannot touch. This isn't divinity, it's domination. This video isn't here to motivate you. It's here to change the way you think, to kill the obedient version of you, to awaken the part that commands without raising its voice, moves without being seen, and bends outcomes to its will. Machiavelli didn't wait for power. He built it. Now you will too. Before you become powerful, you must first destroy the part of you that needs to be seen. The need for recognition is the first weakness your enemies will weaponize. Machiavelli knew this. He watched rulers fall not because they lacked strength, but because they wanted credit. They wanted to be praised, adored, admired. And the moment you desire that, you give people leverage over you. God mode begins with invisibility, not physical, but psychological. You no longer act for applause. You act for results, quietly, strategically, without needing validation from anyone. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But before the world fears you, you must stop fearing its opinion. Here's the truth. People won't appreciate your moves until they need you. They won't notice your power until it threatens them. They won't respect your silence until it starts pulling strings. So you let them talk. Let them underestimate you. Let them believe you're irrelevant. All the while, you build leverage in silence. A man who needs recognition will always reveal his hand too early. He'll speak when he should stay quiet. He'll try to look powerful instead of be powerful. That's not God mode. That's ego dressed in insecurity. You want real power? Then you start moving like a ghost. Detach from image. Detach from applause. Detach from needing anyone to see your greatness. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be undeniable. And that comes from actions with consequences, not emotions with explanations. The more invisible your motives, the more dangerous your presence becomes. You don't need to shout. You don't need to convince. You simply change the outcome. And they wonder how you did it. You don't need to raise your voice to control people. You only need to control what they feel when you walk into the room. That feeling must be fear, not terror, not rage. Fear. The subtle kind, the kind that makes them think twice before speaking. The kind that forces hesitation before they cross your boundaries. The kind that makes them lower their eyes the moment yours meet. Fear is the purest currency of power. It does not lie. It does not shift with public opinion. It creates order when morality fails. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. In a world full of soft ideals, he offered hard truth. Men have less scruple in offending one who makes himself loved than one who makes himself feared. Why? Because love invites assumption, familiarity, weakness. But fear, true, controlled fear, commands caution, respect, silence. So here is the shift. You no longer care how they feel about you. You only care what their nervous system does when they think of you. Your presence should become a trigger. The moment they hear your name, they should feel the weight of expectations, the memory of your silence, the discomfort of being studied. You don't threaten people, you condition them. Step 1. Use unpredictability as a weapon. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. You smile when they expect it. You talk when they want answers. You react when they provoke. Break that cycle. Your silence should make them paranoid. Your approval should be rare. Your reactions should be calculated. Not emotional, but tactical. Never let them know what you're thinking. They must guess. They must project. They must fear being wrong. And they will adjust their behavior to avoid triggering you. This is not cruelty. This is design. You are conditioning their nervous system to obey, even when you say nothing. Step 2. Be disproportionate. Occasionally. To keep fear alive, you must be calm 95% of the time, and merciless 5% of the time. Let them see what happens when you're crossed. Not every time, but once is enough. And when it happens, don't explode. Don't whine. Deliver consequences. A denied opportunity, a pulled connection, a quiet exile from your circle. When the punishment lands, it should be clean, cold, and final. That single moment rewires their entire approach to you. You become a figure they must calculate around, a presence that demands respect in advance. You've entered their mind and stayed there. Step 3. Weaponize absence. There is nothing more powerful than a man who disappears when he's expected to show up and shows up when no one is prepared. Absence creates tension. Tension creates fear. Most people use attention to feel important. You use absence to build power. Leave conversations unfinished. Walk away from disrespect without explanation. Delay your reply until silence speaks louder than words. They'll start to think about you more when you're not in the room. That's when your influence multiplies. Remember this: power doesn't chase, power haunts. The more mysterious your presence, the more careful they become. Step 4. Never explain, never defend. Explaining is a form of submission. When you justify your decisions, you give others the illusion that they have a say. They don't. Let them wonder. Let them question your motives. Let them talk. You remain above it, untouched, unbothered. And they'll start to fear what they don't understand. That's how gods are made, through silence, not sermons. Machiavelli's God mode is not loud. It is not violent. It is not chaotic. It is clinical. It is deliberate. It is psychological. You don't need to shout to dominate. You just need to condition people's nervous systems until they no longer think of you as a man, but as a presence they don't want to offend. This is how you reprogram their fear response. This is how you rise. Power becomes vulnerable the moment it's visible. The more they see you pulling the strings, the easier it is for them to cut them. That's why the highest form of domination is done in silence. Machiavelli never admired the loud ruler. He admired the shadow behind the throne, the man who never spoke in public, but whose words shaped the lives of thousands. The one no one could attack, because no one could prove he was even there. If you want real power, you stop trying to be seen as powerful. You vanish from the frame, but your influence remains in every corner. Let others take credit. Let others draw attention. You create the outcomes, quietly, without applause, without evidence. You don't give orders, you guide. A single conversation here, a subtle suggestion there, and then you disappear. While they argue, you observe. While they fight, you calculate. While they chase recognition, you build control, brick by brick, behind their backs. They won't realize what you've done. until it's already too late to resist. And when they do, you'll still be out of reach. Control is not about noise. It's about presence. Your words don't have to echo. Your decisions do. Never let them see your hand, only the effects of your thinking. A man who walks into the room and demands control is insecure. A man who sits quietly while the room changes itself around him, that is a ruler in disguise. This is the elegance of God mode. You win without fighting. You dominate without ever needing to raise your voice. You are not in the spotlight, but the spotlight bends to your direction. People will swear they made their own choices. They'll never notice the invisible lines you drew for them. That's when you know you've won. Because real control isn't about being feared. It's about becoming unreachable. Power isn't just what you do. It's who they think you are. The strongest man in the room is not always the loudest, the richest, or the most aggressive. Often, it's the one whose image is untouchable, unreachable. A persona so meticulously crafted that no one dares question it. This is not about fame. It's not about popularity. This is about building a mask, a presence that intimidates, confuses, and mesmerizes all at once. A reputation that whispers before you even speak. One that paralyzes opposition and commands obedience. Machiavelli knew this game well. He believed that perception was more powerful than truth. That what people believe you are is often more important than what you actually are. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Let them see a version of you that's been sharpened, filtered, and set on fire with myth. Let them imagine you. Let them speculate. Let their fear and envy fill in the blanks you never reveal. When your persona is untouchable, your actual moves become irrelevant. They're already reacting to your shadow. You must become the man whose name is spoken in rooms you've never entered, the man they prepare for, the man they never fully understand. And you build that persona not by shouting who you are, but by becoming a mystery wrapped in power. You say little, but every word lands. You move rarely, but every move shifts the entire landscape. You appear controlled, composed above it all, and so they project divinity onto you. This is the paradox. The more they see, the less they fear. The less they see, the more they imagine. And imagination is where fear becomes legend. Give them nothing they can use. Don't overshare. Don't explain. Don't argue. Your reputation must be self-sustaining, fueled by rumors, shaped by results, and protected by silence. If someone speaks against you, your persona should be so strong that no one believes them. If someone challenges you, their voice should sound foolish before you even respond. That is power. Not in domination, but in inevitability. In the idea that your name alone shifts behavior. That people walk differently when you enter the room. That they rehearse their words before speaking to you. And you never give them clarity. They should never know what truly drives you. Never know what you truly want. Your desires, your pain, your fears, all buried beneath that mask. Because the moment they know your humanity, they can use it. So you sculpt a presence that seems beyond all of it. Polite, but detached. Calm, but unreadable. Generous, but always in control. You give just enough to appear relatable, never enough to be vulnerable. The ones who fail always want to be understood. The ones who win build personas no one can touch. Because when your image becomes untouchable, your influence becomes automatic. You don't need to beg, chase, explain, or correct. You exist, and others adjust. That is the elegance of true dominance. Not brute force, not chaos, but gravity. A persona that pulls others into orbit and keeps them spinning, wondering how close they can get without being burned. Understand this. Power is not just earned, it's crafted. And your persona is the armor you wear in a world that devours the visible. When people speak of you, their tone should change. Their voice should drop. Their words should become measured. Not because you threaten them, but because they don't know where they stand with you. They can't place you, can't define you, can't predict you. And that is the edge. Because the moment they can touch your image, they own it. But when you vanish behind it, you own them. There is one final chain left to break, and it's the hardest one. Not the opinions of others, not fear, not weakness, but emotion. As long as you are tied to feelings, you are manipulable. As long as your decisions are colored by anger, guilt, affection, or pride, you are still a servant to the same forces that control the masses. You cannot rule a world that still owns your heart. Machiavelli never trusted emotion. He dissected it, weaponized it, but never surrendered to it. Because he understood the truth most men cannot stomach. Emotion is the leash. Logic is the sword. You've been told to follow your heart. That advice keeps armies weak and kings dead. The ones who rise are those who feel everything, but act on nothing. They smile while being betrayed. They wait while being underestimated. They strike when no one is watching, because their moves are chosen from strategy, not impulse. They have already mourned their weakness, buried it, replaced it with precision. And that's what this level demands of you. You must let your emotions scream and still choose silence. Let them insult you and still not react. Let them test your limits and respond only when the outcome serves your position. You will no longer speak to be understood. You will speak only to advance your position, destabilize theirs, or anchor fear. You must stop craving justice. Justice is a myth sold to men who lack power. The powerful don't seek fairness. They seek leverage. And you must stop needing to be seen as good. That illusion will only bind your hands. You're not here to be a savior. You're here to be sovereign. Every man tied to his emotions is a predictable machine. Easy to provoke, easy to trap, easy to destroy. The moment you cut yourself free, you become inhuman to them. And that's when you become unstoppable. They won't understand how you think. They won't understand how you endure what they could never handle. They won't understand how you smile in silence, then destroy without warning. And they'll say you're cold. They'll say you're ruthless. They'll say you've lost your soul. But the truth is, you've finally owned it. You've stopped selling your peace to every emotion that comes knocking. You've stopped giving your power to people who haven't earned your attention. You don't need to feel understood. You don't need to be forgiven. You don't need to be anything but inevitable. This is the final step of God mode. Not rage, not revenge, but transcendence. You become unshakable, unreachable, untouchable. Not because you've become cruel, but because you've outgrown the need to feel human in front of them. Emotion becomes a tool, not a master. Pain becomes data. Love becomes leverage. Loss becomes recalibration. Now you move differently. Not faster, just higher. Not louder, just colder. Not recklessly, but with terrifying clarity. You no longer ask, is this fair? Will they like me? Am I doing the right thing? Now you ask, does this increase my power? Does this fortify my position? Does this weaken theirs? The game never ends. But from here, you're no longer playing it like a man. You've become something else, a strategist without chains, a ruler without mercy, a force without emotion. You've activated God mode, and there is no going back. You've detached from emotion. You've mastered invisibility. You've built a persona no one can touch. And now, you must never step back into the cage you just escaped. The final trap isn't fear. It isn't weakness. It's comfort. Once power begins working in your favor, the temptation returns to be liked again, to explain yourself, to rejoin the system you now control. That's the final test, and most men fail it. They rise only to kneel again for applause. They conquer only to ask for love. They win, but still want to be accepted by the world they outgrew. Don't be one of them. Machiavelli never admired the man who won once. He admired the man who stayed in power by never stepping off the throne. The man who knew how to rule in silence and who never gave the people a chance to strike back. It is much safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be lacking. Why? Because fear doesn't fade when you're absent. But love is fleeting. Love can be redirected. Love creates entitlement. Power is not built for emotional sustainability. It is built for strategic survival. You must keep distance between who you are and what they see. Let them know the mask, not the man. Because if they think they know you, they'll believe they can defeat you. But if your thoughts are hidden, your motives unreadable, and your silence consistent, they will never know where to strike. This is the essence of staying above the system. It means you never belong to anyone again. No crowd, no movement, no ideology. You are your own kingdom, ruled by cold principles, not shifting emotions. You listen to everyone, but reveal nothing. You make everyone feel included, but attached to no one. You say enough to stay relevant, but never enough to be predicted. You become the man people reference, admire, and fear, but never fully understand. And when they try to study you, they only get fragments, pieces, echoes, shadows. Because you've become more than a man, you've become a presence, not tied to rules, not confined to a title, not subject to any hierarchy but your own. This is how power becomes permanent. You make yourself untouchable, not through force, but through disappearance. You rise above conflict by creating it. You stop defending yourself and start becoming the myth that doesn't have to explain. The more unpredictable you are, the more stable your rule becomes. The more invisible your strategy, the more undeniable your impact. They may challenge others, but never you. Not because you scare them, but because they no longer feel like they're operating in the same dimension. And they're right. You've outgrown the game. You've bent the game. You are the game. So now you stay above it. You never step back down. Because the moment you do, they will test you. They will try to understand you. And they will believe they can reach you. Don't give them that hope. Be present, but untouchable. Be seen, but unreadable. Be known, but never truly known. This is how rulers become legends. Not by showing power once, but by sustaining it through mystery, fear, and design. You are no longer in the system. You are the force moving its walls. Welcome to the highest level. This is God mode. And once it's activated, you never turn it off. Now you see it. The world was never against you. It was just indifferent to weakness. You weren't betrayed. You were exposed. You weren't overlooked. You were readable. You weren't denied power. You simply hadn't earned it the way real power demands. In silence, in discipline, in control. But that version of you, he's gone now. You no longer crave to be understood. You no longer waste energy on fairness. You don't reach down to explain yourself to people who aren't operating on your level. You've become the architect, the silent force behind the curtain, the man no one sees coming but everyone feels when he enters the room. This is the final evolution. No emotions to exploit. No patterns to predict, no image to destroy. Because you've become the one who shapes images. You're not part of the crowd anymore. You watch the crowd. You influence the crowd. And if necessary, you burn it down. You've activated God mode. You are not their equal. You are their lesson. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them wonder how you operate. They won't find answers, just results, just consequences, just your name. Whispered with fear, mentioned with respect, never truly understood. Because that's the cost of power. You stop being relatable. You become inevitable. So now the question is, will you use it? Will you take this blueprint and build something untouchable? Or will you fall back into the comfort of weakness, the illusion of safety? Make your choice. And if you're ready to rule from the shadows, to win without being seen, to dominate without lifting your voice, then this channel was built for you. Like the video if this awakened something in you. Subscribe if you're done following and ready to command. And share this with the ones who are still asleep. They won't understand it, but the ones who are ready will feel it. This is the world as Machiavelli saw it. Now it's yours. Welcome to God mode.